This is our first episode of are we calling these seasons?
Yeah, I think it kind of makes sense.
We're watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now we'll get into this a little bit, our experiences having watched this, if we have watched it or not, but we do need to start with by addressing the elephant in the room, and that is Ed's voice actor. So he's a guy named Vic Magnolia or something. I don't really give a shit how you pronounce his name. Fuck him. He was the voice actor in like early 2000s anime. If you've listened to anime during this time period and somehow have missed FMA, you've caught him in something else. I'm sure of it. He's been accused of being very fucking creepy. I have to point out here, he's never been charged with any crimes, and I'm pointing this out because woo boy, does he like lawsuits. He is torched virtually his entire career thanks to these allegations and his response to them, which included a lot of real Gamergate adjacent shit and all of the language that comes with it. Also, if you look up if you look up a picture of him, he looks like he visits the aesthetic beauty place next door to me way too often. Funimation and Sony Pictures conducted internal investigations of these allegations. Some of the allegations came from people he worked on this show, and he was fired as a result of them. Take of that what you will. I really do not want to get sued here. So what I will say is there's a wonderful podcast called A-Lab. A-Lab podcast, All Lawyers Are Bastards, did a...
Shout out the hell dude.
Yeah, he did. I think it's 2 parts, maybe it's 3, on this specific case called The Weeb Wars. I cannot recommend it enough. They cover it in hours, and it's very funny. And also, I do not want to get another cease and desist. So listen to A-Lab.
Yeah, God, I think the first time I watched this was like nearly 10 years ago with an ex of mine, and it was really good. Or maybe I watched it kind of fully before on my own and rewatched it again. But it's like, I texted you yesterday, I was like, I forgot how much this slaps. And also to address another elephant in the room, we were watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood because and not the original Full Metal Alchemist, which is like technically an OVA, I think. That's like 50 odd episodes, because this one is the one that is most accessible to everyone. It is on Netflix. I tried to find, because I didn't pirate it, I tried to find like, is there somewhere I can stream it online? Absolutely nowhere. Netflix has nuked every single site that you'll be able to stream it on.
It's also Brotherhood's also on Crunchyroll, which is where I watch it. The American version of it, because I use a VPN. And I picked Brotherhood rather than the original, not because of accessibility, though I suppose that is the more sensitive way to go about this. That's not what I was thinking about, if I'm being completely honest. It is just the more complete story. The original FMA fell into kind of a hole that a lot of anime did, definitely back in the day. I'm sure it happens still today, where the show outpaces the manga. And so it ends up having to come up with a lot of original stuff. Some of it's filler, some of it's just original story beats altogether. And Brotherhood is a more faithful adaptation of the manga. I haven't read the manga either, but everyone tells me Brotherhood is the way to go. And despite the fact Brotherhood moves at a breakneck pace, right from the get-go, in a ways it can be a little discombobulating if you're unfamiliar with it altogether. I will say there's actually more episodes of Brotherhood than the original by like 10. There's like 64 episodes of Brotherhood, despite it being a complete manga adaptation. If you are someone who's watching Brotherhood with us and have no understanding of FMA at all, you'll be fine. Just know that like if you feel a little lost in the beginning, it's kind of meant to be that way.
Yeah, it's a big critique of the first episode, but we'll get into it in a minute. One thing that I do have to say is I found an interesting quirk of Netflix. So I don't have a Netflix account. I had to ask someone to use theirs, and I was trying to watch it. I was here yesterday, had my laptop plugged into my like hub thing that like splits it out into the 2 monitors, and I was like, I kept clicking on it and the sound was working, but it wasn't. It was just a black screen, wasn't showing anything. And I was like, I think like Netflix have some sort of like inbuilt thing in the streaming codec that prevents you from like plugging in a HDMI cable or an external display to your computer when you're watching it.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, that
literally-
doesn't even surprise me anymore.
Literally, I was like, what was going on? And I like moved it to the other monitor. Like I have 2 fucking huge monitors. And it was like, wasn't working. And then I moved it back to the laptop screen and I was like, that's not working either. And I just like unplugged the cable and it immediately popped up and I was like, you motherfuckers. Cause like I've had problems in the past a few years ago when it was like trying to just like, because I don't live in Ireland, and when I had a Netflix account, it was an Irish Netflix account, and it was when they introduced that like household thing, and my parents were using my account to watch it on the TV, so I had to use a VPN to like watch stuff, and I tried to plug a HDMI cable into my laptop, and it just wouldn't work, and I'm like, you motherfuckers.
I mean, I have Netflix. I honestly rarely use it. I didn't even use it to watch this, but I know it's been getting worse. You said you've watched Brotherhood before.
Yep.
Did you finish it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're in an interesting reversal here once more because I never finished it. I've started Brotherhood probably conservatively 6 to 8 times, and I just kind of fall off of it. Not as a critique to the show. I'm like this with a lot of shows.
And now you have found the one bulletproof way for you to complete it is to make it work.
Yeah. And unlike all the other episodes we did, we're watching 4 episodes at a time rather than 3. So if you're keeping track at home and watching it with us, whatever, it lets us get through it a little bit faster. Somewhat. It's still going to be a very long time.
That being said, like there are parts in like the different arcs of FMAB that is like 4 episodes is the equivalent of maybe like 12 episodes in another show. And then there is like parts where like 3 episodes are just a really protracted version of like one storyline, one scene, one setting. So it kind of ebbs and flows, but I think it justifies itself with this show. I think it's paced really, really well. I suppose we get into it in the first episode, which is people don't like this first episode because it's like,
I get it.
This is like so much exposition just thrown at you, and instead you should start at episode 2.
I could understand that. I remember watching the original FMA when it was on Adult Swim, and you start off understanding what happened to the boys, Edward and Alphonse. They blow themselves up effectively using alchemy to try to resurrect their mother. So you know right from the beginning what the stakes are. Episode 1 in Brotherhood starts off with a big bad.
Yes.
Because a lot of Brotherhood, a lot of FMA in general, I'll use those terms interchangeably unless I'm making a very obvious distinction, is a monster of the week type situation.
Yeah, they're kind of like science cops.
Yeah, which I like not the cops part, but like the monster of the week formula works really well.
Yes. So yeah, this first episode we get introduced to the concept of alchemy as it works in this universe. It's like a science. It's not magic. It is, there are alchemists specialize in certain materials, be that water, be that fire, be that metal,
or flesh, as we'll find out famously in episode 4,
or punching people.
Being jacked.
Which essentially there's like, it's this law of equivalent exchange, is that, which is an alchemical concept from history where you can't create something out of nothing. There has to be an equivalent exchange of materials, say like turning, I'm saying this because I'm looking directly at it, like a can of white monster into a sword.
Right.
It can only work with the amount of material that was within that can of monster. That's how it works.
And you have to have a transmutation circle to do it, though I will say this is a rule that the show establishes that it immediately ignores.
Yes. So similarly to the ritualistic history of alchemy, there you have to draw like essentially like a circle with a sigil on the ground in order to transmute properties of things. They get real fast and loose with this very quickly though. Yeah,
it makes it seem like that needs to be drawn out, but then obviously, I mean, Edward Elric does not need one at all. Other people will have them on gloves, tattooed on their bodies, which means it's like this isn't a rule that really exists unless it's needed for a plot device, which I understand. Like, this is something that all writers do. It is a critique at the same time, because importantly, when you are using a magic system within a piece of fiction, it requires rules and laws to function within that world. And then you stick to them. And that's how you get people to understand and believe them. There's really no need for this if you're just going to throw it out the window. Because like, oh, you could just have the transmutation circle on a glove. Like, then you don't need one because then everyone's going to have one.